Welcome back, everyone, to Third Street Reactions. I'm Zach.
I'm Shane.
We're back with the Star Wars The Clone Wars, Season 5, Episode 20.
Zach, I believe this is the finale for Season 5.
Okay.
And then there's Season 6, which kind of aired like after the Disney acquisition, which like is an incompleted season. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but it's like, man, I wanted more. 8 years later, Disney allowed Dave Filoni, because he generated so much goodwill, they allowed him to go back and finish the Clone Wars. He actually said, I wanted a couple more seasons, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. So last episode, we had Ahsoka. She got captured.
Yeah, she actually was apprehended after a face-off with an unknown opponent. Who I believe is Barriss, because Barriss is the one that told her where to go. And this person ambushed Ventress, stole her helmet and her sabers, which I have to wonder if Ventress is going to make a comeback now, too. Get her shit back.
Yeah.
Take her shit out on this other shit.
How do you feel about, first time we see Ahsoka? I mean, the very first episode, 1-1, it's called Ambush. You know, she's come a long way. I mean, I think, obviously in episode 1, she was
the way they told these stories is so fucking far out of whack. As far as
he just said, well, fuck it, I did the prequels, after the original, I'll just do it again.
I get it, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Man.
Thankfully, you get to watch everything in chronological order, though.
I know, but it's because somebody had to put all that shit together after they fucking released it that way. Imagine just watching it as it aired. Like, you may not even know. You
wouldn't know, and when I watched it, because there's about 8 episodes out of whack, but they're talking about, like, the stuff that happened here. There's nothing to do with the last episode. Yeah. It has to do with, it's because it'd be like a sequel to like another, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's all in order. But there's a few, and there's even one key episode. And watching out of order doesn't ruin it. It's just like, they change the order of it.
Kind of leaves you feeling like, what the fuck?
Well, like in this particular season, like the Maul Savage stuff, they put it in a slightly different order because when they aired it, they wanted Maul and Savage to be the premiere.
Yeah.
And so they chronologically put it a little early. They aired it earlier, even though chronologically it is like a few episodes later. Because they just needed that boost with the premiere. No, anyways, we had a pretty cool lightsaber fight. But, now she's captured. And Tarkin, he was going on and on about evidence. And I get that, especially from his point of view and from like a military point of view. But, like Zach said, they're dealing with wizards.
I might wonder too, how do they collect evidence of these scenes of the crime? Do they look for fingerprints? Do they dismiss them in the case of a Jedi? It's like, she could handle them with her mind.
I think
she wouldn't have to touch them. Maybe she wore gloves.
Maybe it's because it's weird because nowadays this came out, and obviously the technology is based on the fact that because now we can doctor footage, we can a fake face on someone, and they have experts to know. Maybe they have experts to see if is this girl using the Force? Maybe they have Jedi experts to know it looks like she definitely is using the Force. Based on this, and this.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would do that. I'm just kind of, yapping. When I watched the footage, it looks like she did. But we know, because we were in that room with her.
Yeah, she's like Snape, the fucking Quidditch match.
Yeah, that fucking looked like it. I remember watching that, I go, what the hell, man?
Yeah, and it turns out he was trying to he's a counter curse.
Yeah, it was a counter curse. And he was one of the biggest heroes of the whole damn saga.
I know. Alan Rickman, man.
Yeah, Alan Rickman killed it. I remember reading that. Of course, spoilers alert. I won't say specifically, but I remember reading that in that book, and I just fucking started crying because it's
when you find out that he's
it's extensive. But anyways, guys, before we jump in, if you want to support us, you can watch the full-length uncut reaction, and we also have the next 4 episodes on there.
Let's jump in.
Alright.
Generally good advice.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes it gives you
not clever.
Yeah, it's not.
The Senate requests that Ahsoka Tano be indicted for acts of treason against the Republic.
A fair trial, Padawan Tano will have, in accordance with Jedi tradition.
Ah, yes, Jedi tradition. I'm afraid, Master Yoda, that the Senate believes that an internal Jedi trial would seem biased. The Senate asks that the Council expel Ahsoka Tano from the Jedi Order, so that she may be put to a Republic military tribunal.
And who would represent Ahsoka in this tribunal?
That would be up to the Council, but I would recommend someone outside the Order.
Of course.
The Council will act as they deem necessary.
Surely we cannot do what Tarkin suggests.
Because he said that to Palpatine, the Anakin about Palpatine.
And yet there's evidence that she is indeed the mastermind.
I understand your sentiment, Obi-Wan. If the Council does as you suggest, it could be seen as an act of opposition to the Senate. I'm afraid we have little choice.
You see, this political
To the Chamber
shit.
of Judgment.
Yeah.
Summon Skywalker and his Padawan.
Just infecting the council. These fucking guys. Bunch of Crusaders.
They kind of look pretty badass.
Yeah.
These guards.
Padawan Tana, serious charges have been levied against you. How plead you?
Not guilty, Master. I would never take the lives of innocents. The values of the Jedi are sacred to me.
You were alone with Lettertermant when she died. Can you explain this?
Someone used the Force against her.
Which brings us to Ventress. Can you explain your association with her?
I thought she was helping me.
Did she help you acquire the nanodroid weaponry found when you were apprehended?
No. I was set up and deceived, as you are being deceived now.
The question is, Padawan Tana, who is deceiving us? Ventress, you, or someone else?
I am not deceiving you. My senses clouded.
Clouded by the dark side. These things are Padawan Tana.
You've already made your decision, haven't you? This meeting is just a formality.
Reached a decision. We have.
Right you are.
It is the Council's opinion that Padawan Ahsoka Tano has committed sedition against the Republic, and thus she will be expelled from the Jedi Order.
You can't do this!
Your Padawan status will be stripped from you, and you shall forfeit all rank and privileges within the Grand Army of the Republic. You will be turned over to the Republic courts to await your trial, and whatever punishment they will set for you. Henceforth, you are barred from the Jedi Order.
What? Crock of shit.
Fucking terrible.
It is.
Not even watching this for like a couple of years. It's fucking terrible.
Padme has agreed to represent you before the Senate.
I will do everything I can to prove your innocence, Ahsoka.
I am almost certain that the person behind this is Ventress. Didn't any of the clones see anything?
No. None of the clones reported seeing Ventress at the scene. I thought you said Ventress left before you went into the warehouse.
That's what I thought too. But then she attacked me when I got inside. I'd know her red lightsabers anywhere.
Well, if that's our only lead, then I know what I have to do.
Wait, where are you going? You can't leave now.
Yes, I can. I have to find Ventress and get to the bottom of this.
Until we hear from Anakin, let's work on your defense.
Forgive me
Bring a
if I'm
fucking
not
notepad or
optimistic.
anything. What's she gonna record this shit? Come on.
I don't know.
But everyone except Anakin has abandoned me. I'm not holding out much hope the Senate will treat me any better.
So we have a jab there at like her view of the politicians a little bit. Like, so George at this time was pretty obsessed with Underworld. He was actually developing a show. They released a trailer for it, like a
I know he had plans for Maul to be on a big wig in the underworld and the crime syndicates and shit.
yeah.
Anakin.
I know you're behind all of this.
Prove it.
Can't talk to her, man.
Leave me alone!
Ooh, that'd fucking break. That'd break your back.
Tell me what happened.
Can't fucking talk.
Heard your little rat was on the run. I was going to catch your pet and turn her over to the authorities. Collect whatever bounty was due.
What stopped you?
But then I realized your fallen Padawan and I had a lot in common.
How dare you compare yourself to Ahsoka?
It's true! My master abandoned me, and that's exactly what you did to her. You and your precious Jedi Order.
Well, Brett will go in there and like make sure every single one of those little steps, as much as he can, unless we're talking, and cuts them out.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah, it is.
Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.
Masamada. At least I think that's his name.
Yeah. Political suck.
Yeah, he is. He's one of Palpatine's closest count. You know, he's right in his inner circle.
Oh, I know.
He also knows who Palpatine is, too. I think I'm pretty sure it says that in his book. Like, he knows everything about Palpatine.
Ahsoka Tano.
By the way.
You have been charged with sedition against the Jedi Order
Tim Curry.
and the Republic itself.
I like him, though.
I do too, but he sounds a lot different than the other guy.
He does.
Former Padawan Tano, I shall prove that you were the mastermind behind the attack on the Jedi Temple. When you are found guilty, I ask the court that the full extent of the law be brought down upon you, including penalty of death.
You make him very
After I left the warehouse.
He's never like that.
After I left your little Padawan.
Yeah.
Before reserved.
I was walking away. Someone came out of nowhere and hit me from behind. Not just anyone can sneak up behind me. It had to be another Jedi. Whoever you're looking for has my lightsabers. That's how you'll know you found the criminal.
Well, this leads me to a dead end. You're the only one Ahsoka had talked to.
That's not true. Your Padawan contacted the temple. She spoke to someone named Barriss. That's why we knew to go to the warehouse in the first place. It was this Barriss that told us to go there.
If you're lying, you're dead.
Such promises.
Hey, fucking Assassin's Creed.
Look at the facts. Letta told Ahsoka she was afraid. She told her the mastermind was a Jedi. And before she could reveal the Jedi's name, Letta Termond was strangled to death by way of the Force. Why would Ahsoka kill Letta with a method that would so obviously tie the murder to her? A Jedi may be responsible for the murder, but that Jedi is not Ahsoka Tano.
Well said, Senator Amidala. If she is innocent, then why was she seen conspiring with known separatist terrorist Asajj Ventress?
Ventress set me up. My master will prove that.
And where is your master?
He's trying to find the real murderer.
Then maybe he should be looking at you.
I love this room.
I know, but...
Like the height of this chamber, using that old trilogy kind of, those panels, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Enter.
Barriss, I need to talk to you.
How can I help you?
I was told that you spoke with Ahsoka before she was arrested. What did you say to her?
I thought I had a clue for her, but I really couldn't tell her anything. Who told you I spoke to her?
Ventress. She told me.
Ventress? Isn't she the one Ahsoka says is really behind all this?
That's what Ahsoka says, but I think she's wrong. Ventress thinks someone else is involved.
Who else could it be if not her? Surely not Ahsoka.
No, I don't think it was Ahsoka either. I think both Ahsoka and Ventress are telling the truth. There's only one way to find out. Buddy, those belong to Ventress.
I feel like she would not think.
I think they suit me.
I told you. I fucking told you.
I fucking knew, motherfucker. I've seen it.
I know, but I fucking told you.
I fucking told you.
Because I knew I was right.
Yeah, you're right. You call a lot of stuff in this show.
Surely she cannot be this murderer or saboteur that they speak of. And yet, think of all the times we have been fooled by the Separatists. Is this yet another Separatist scheme?
I love Tim Curry, but I feel like the voice is like it's too deep when he's not Palpatine or not Sidious.
I'll tell you what, he makes a very good Sidious.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Ahsoka trusted you and you betrayed her.
I've learned that trust is overrated. The only thing the Jedi Council believes in is violence.
So what are you gonna do, kid? Bomb him? By the way, they're about the same age. Anakin was just promoted earlier. And she's still a Padawan.
Cease hostility!
Remember those kids? From the Alien Crystal plot? I mean, arc? In time! That's just a new babe?
Fucking hand it is just.
I know.
Like the other hand, isn't it?
Yeah. It's pretty cool fight,
There
too.
was.
And he kind of channels the Vader stuff there a little bit.
Ahsoka Tano, by an overwhelming count of Jessup.
Ah,
I
Anakin.
hope you have a reason for bursting into our proceeding.
I am here with evidence and a confession from the person responsible for all of the crimes Ahsoka has been accused of. Barriss Offee, member of the Jedi Order and traitor.
Barriss? Is that true?
I mean, the Tarkin is still just another Jedi. You know, like, he just sees this corrupt
I
order.
get it. What many people in the Republic have come to realize. That the Jedi are the ones responsible for this war. And my attack on the temple was an attack on what the Jedi have become. An army fighting for the dark side. Fallen from the light that we once held so dear. This republic is failing!
Take her away.
That sounded like a lot more like him there.
Ahsoka, I am so sorry.
The Council was wrong to accuse you.
You have shown such great strength and resilience in your struggle to prove.
Motherfucker was one of the first ones to fold on her.
Yeah. True sign of a Jedi Knight.
This was actually your great trial. Now we see that. We understand that the Force works in mysterious ways. And because of this trial, you have become a greater Jedi than you would have otherwise.
Back into the Order. You, Maker.
They're asking you back, Ahsoka.
I'm asking you back.
I'm sorry, Master. But I'm not coming back.
Yeah, right? Think how he feels, though.
I know.
Think how many people he wants to join him. And he just gets shut down.
I know.
By Padme, by his son.
Y'all fucked up.
Yeah, they all fucked up.
Why are you doing this?
The Council didn't trust me.
What about me? I believed in you. I stood by you.
I know you believe in me, Anakin. And I'm grateful for that. I can't stay here any longer.
The Jedi Order is your life. You can't just throw it away like this. Ahsoka, you are making a mistake.
Maybe, but I have to sort this out on my own. Without the Council, and without you.
I understand. More than you realize, I understand wanting to walk away from the Order.
I know.
She knows a little bit.
Brooding orchestral music.
Yep.
Oh, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Just great.
She was like the kind of most hated, like the new Jar Jar kind of. And
Yeah,
then,
I remember that. You've told me on several occasions.
Yeah, and I think with a long time to let it brew, they really turned it around.
They did, and the production of the show, being as elevated as it is at this point.
Yeah.
Like just the graphics, the music, the writing.
Yeah.
It all came together very well. I mean, if that was the finale of the season, it was very somber. And I think it's great.
Obviously, greatly contributes to Anakin not trusting the Jedi or even being resentful to them, where he kind of seems a little, why are you being an asshole, Anakin? I mean, because we have multiple examples, this being by far the biggest one. Have him seeing that they were in the wrong.
This is some of the more, let's say, mature writing I've seen out of this show.
Out of this show, yeah.
And the way that it really elevated that relationship, and those are things that a lot of little kids, my youngest daughter, she'd probably feel like what the fuck about what's going on with Ahsoka, and them not believing her, but she wouldn't understand the nuances, like her saying I know. I mean, she'd understand probably more than I give her credit for, but saying I know because she realizes what's going on with Anakin and Padme.
Yeah, so that's kind of the first bit we get into that. Either she has suspects or just senses it. I mean, Obi-Wan, it's pretty clear, certainly in the old EU and a little bit in the new. I mean, he guesses to Padme right away that Anakin was the father. You know, in the books, like, he knows Anakin is trying to be an incredible Jedi, and he knows Anakin is like the shining light of the Order, and he just wants to believe Anakin can be this great thing. So he kind of he's kind of in denial a little bit.
He also probably empathizes a little bit because of how he felt about Satine.
Yeah, and that also makes that make more sense too. Yeah. Believe it or not, I think some of the best stuff is yet to come. But this is one of my favorite arcs. It's one of everyone's favorite arcs. And I don't want to say anything about the rest of the series, but I know you know Ahsoka because it comes later, and now we got the incredible Rosario Dawson.
Oh yeah, some of the trailers and the shit for the upcoming Ahsoka series look fantastic.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and I can't remember that droid's name, played by the guy David Tennant, I think is what you said.
Yeah, with the big wild.
Yeah, they brought him back, and they brought David Tennant back.
I saw him in the trailer, but Tennant being involved is great.
Yeah, and Filoni, it's going to live or die with him because he wrote every episode. and he directed almost every episode. So I mean, it's funny because he says like
Disney would freak out if that man got in like a car accident. Or
they would, because he's definitely carrying on a lot of what George.
He'd break out all his secret Disney technology.
You know what'd be funny is if they used AI to make people think that he was still part of there and he was dead.
We keep the dream alive.
I wonder if I can't remember. There's like a president who got shot, and like they had to like do like a lot of people didn't know this guy was bed bound and wheelchair bound. Was it Roosevelt?
Roosevelt wasn't shot.
Okay.
You're talking about FDR.
He had
bad
health.
polio. I
Okay.
think. And if I'm right, I don't remember. I know he was wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
And they had a secret exit for him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Now I'm like getting my entertainment and shit mixed up. But
Yeah.
either way,
Yeah.
they kept him behind the desk.
Yeah.
So people didn't see him in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like he didn't make a lot of public appearances while in it because
Okay.
they didn't want to display any kind of weakness.
Yeah, there's so many good things about this arc in this episode, but Anakin going to go see Ventress. I loved Anakin in these last few episodes. I love him fighting for Ahsoka, and you know he would. It's one of those things where I wonder if he had a personal conversation with Obi-Wan. I'm sure Obi-Wan, obviously, he has to be a member of the council, but he knows Ahsoka very well. He knows Anakin well. He probably trusts Anakin's judgment enough to know about Ahsoka being innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he was fighting for her. I loved it so much. And I loved all the stuff with Ventress, personally. What about you?
I did. I really liked her involvement. I liked her character development. I liked the confrontation they had in the underworld. And
Do you think she planted a seed there when she was like, I got abandoned, and then just like you abandoned her and your precious Jedi Order?
Yeah.
You think that made him kind of like, I mean, you can say
Well, I mean, it's
retroactively.
just, there are countless straws
Yeah.
until finally the one that breaks his back.
Yeah.
In episode 3.
Yeah.
But the pressure's on.
Mhm.
And like you mentioned, the shit's being stripped away from him time and again. He lost Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And, he lost Ahsoka.
Yeah.
He's risking.
And they were- and
in
it-
his mind, he's, anxious about losing Padme. He lost his mom.
Yeah.
In episode 2.
And then it's like, now you want me to spy on like one of my best friends, the only guy who's actually allowed me to open up with, I guess, a human being, and it's illegal. So they're wanting to keep it from Palpatine. This particular episode, like the Jedi kind of see how militaristically they're getting tied up. So they, in episode 3, they want to have that covert op internally with the Jedi Order because they realize that like we're getting so locked up with the Republic and the military and their power over us, we can't do what we did, with Ahsoka. Like, we can't let them have control.
Yeah.
So it also, and obviously, by that point, Anakin lost all of his trust anyways. I think that's actually a good reason for them to want Anakin to keep it a secret. But little do they know, they shouldn't have trusted Anakin with that secret.
No, but they're severing those ties themselves. It's just
Yeah.
it's kind of out of their. At that point, it's spiraled out of control. Palpatine has woven his web well.
He really has, and at this point, obviously, he understands. Like if Ahsoka, if she gets executed, like it's just going to push Anakin over the edge, and he knows that.
Yeah, he's batting.
But then, in honest, this is one of the things. With Palpatine, this kind of thing happens. Like she didn't get executed; she was proved innocent. But like her leaving by choice, and with Anakin's kind of his issues of abandonment and mistrust, that probably is almost a better. I don't know if it's better than her getting executed. If she was.
Well, it's an equal opportunity.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's going to do almost as much damage to Anakin.
So he still has a card to play.
It's going to be easy for me to convince Anakin. Like you can't trust these guys.
Yeah.
Look what they do. If you take a good look at especially these last 2 seasons, but I think this arc, there's so many things you can tie. I think that elevate some of the gaps and I won't say gaps in the writing, but it's one of those. You go from point A to point B at lightning speed in Revenge of the Sith, and it kind of, I think when you look at it all in perpetuity, it just makes it better. If it's one canon.
I agree. I wasn't a big fan of how Tarkin has been portrayed. Because in A New Hope, he's Cushing is a lot more snappy, and direct and stern, and in this he's kind of like snobby and kind of there's an air of snobbery to him, but it's different in 4.
But I agree. I didn't appreciate his the actor's portrayal as much in this. But I'll say is there's more Clone Wars and there's also Rebels.
Yeah.
So and they're I think one of the greatest things. I think now we have to watch it, The Bad Batch. I think you will absolutely appreciate him in that, and you might even I don't know if it's his best stuff, but it's certainly very good.
Well, I mean it's just.
I don't think anything can beat Peter Cushing in episode 4.
No, it can't. I mean, you have a second best in Rogue One.
Yeah, I still think that's probably second best, but it's one of those things where I think you'd be like, oh, well, this gives me more of that like that version of Tarkin when he's a little older that I love.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take place that much later when you watch Bad Batch at least. And he's incredible in it. Anyways, yeah, this is a finale for this. Guys, we got a couple more seasons, but they're like an express. They're pretty short. I'm glad you liked it, man. Like, when we started this journey, like, for me, it was important, like, the Dooku stuff. Like, that's why Dooku's now one of my favorite characters because of this show. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Darth Maul, the Savage stuff, like, a lot of the dark side. The way it builds the world of the dark side, the things you've only kind of saw in the comics. And then, of course, like probably the most important character in this show is Ahsoka.
Well, I've seen, the dark side. I never got in. There was some EU shit that, which I know you, but predominantly when we were younger, it was Eric, really ate that up and really explored it more than we did. Maybe it's because we didn't have access, or maybe because of you and I spending time together and being able to do things together, and him being able less so to do as much.
Yeah, that was his thing.
He had to have an outlet, an escape.
Yeah.
And he really delved into it. And he's been passionate about it, for much longer than we were. I feel, as far as getting into the lore.
Yeah, he's definitely on point with lore for sure. Yeah.
But what I'm getting at though is that you look into a lot of how all that's explored, and to me, a lot of times it was always kind of over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I liked things to be like the Matrix trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
First one's my favorite. Is a lot more down to earth.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I get the whole premise is not,
yeah.
but it was kept grounded for the most part. The fight with Smith at the end was a very grounded fight.
Well, the first one has got a special place in my heart. Yeah. I think it's the best one, but I think the fourth movie might be the second best one. I know you didn't finish it.
Yeah.
It would be just as good as the first if
Hugo Weaving.
It would be just as good as the first.
I really
believe.
Should have fucking been in it. They should have waited.
I would have waited until they were much older, even if they just to have him in it.
I know, it would have been worth it.
I think that guy's all right. Believe me, if you watch the whole thing, like what they had in mind with Neo and Smith, like it truly, I think it's the second best one. The third one has, I think, the second best fight, and I need to rewatch that second one. I've only seen the second one 2 times in my life.
The second one it had interesting ideas.
Well,
if I remember right, but I just feel like it just.
Well, it's been so long,
and it was just so far removed from the first one.
Yeah, they do like a ton of. They bring in so much world building and
Either way, the point is what I'm getting at is that the fucking my favorite EU would be Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR.
Oh, it's definitely great.
But I also have not played that many. But in terms of expanded universe, I never got to read the Thrawn shit when I was younger. I was exposed to little bits and pieces of the information and always loved the character, but I never really read the books.
Yeah.
Anything. KOTOR was great. And it was also so far removed from current times. Yeah, and the Sith weren't, it was Revan and Malak.
Yeah, and because it's so far removed, like these ancient Sith, you could believe that they do all this crazy shit.
But to my knowledge, there were still only 2 at that time.
At that time...
Yeah. That was after the Bane rule, too. So
they controlled an army.
Yeah.
But they were...
But they're still the 2.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciated that. And all the shit with all the different, multiple Sith and all the legions of them. That shit just... It didn't really interest me that much. But...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to me, I appreciate the subtleties of Palpatine. Mm-hmm. So I'm bringing it back around here. Compared to this Lord of the Rings level armies fighting, great power struggles. I love that his whole idea was orchestrating the war, controlling both sides of it, and it is that cunning that I like.
It's truly one of the best parts about him, and there's so much you can get out of him, and this show was because you have both sides of this war fighting it for their own reason, and on the surface it's kind of good, but then Palpatine is in charge of it all.
And part of it,
it's just fucking chaos.
Part of me makes wishes that we saw a lot less of him, and that you get more of his influence than his persona, his personage, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we know, so we don't need to see him doing all the crazy shit. I kind of wish that there's a lot more that play-by-play, kind of like Sauron. You never see the motherfucker.
That's a good point.
But he's not in control as much as Palpatine is. Correct. But I like that influence and that fear and that presence.
I get that. It's just I don't want to talk about it, but that's
done. It's whatever.
The Amazon Prime series, the way
power.
they did that, and I know you called it, but I thought it was so fucking good when they revealed Sauron.
Oh yeah. But other people were calling it before me. They were watching the show.
Well, but when you have a amalgamation of internet, there's probably people in the very first second, that's this guy. I guarantee it. But like, I'm talking about me and you. I mostly liked him in the show, but I mean, I guess I could take it or leave if he was in it more or less. But I mean, the important stuff he did,
the die is cast. I mean, there's no
the stuff he did with Savage and Maul. I loved that though.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things I personally would change for my benefit.
Yeah.
If I could go back and redirect the course of history on certain areas, but
yeah,
but I could break in there and rewrite George's scripts, and he's like, I didn't write this last night.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, man. There's still more, but this is a very important arc for Ahsoka.
Yeah, I see that.
It's also very important for Anakin.
It broke her heart.
It did. It was just, I haven't seen it really again since I reacted to it, I don't think. And yeah, and I'm also thinking like that, like when I watch the prequels, like, you know, like that, like what Anakin thinks when he's thinking about this stuff. I mean, it's probably, like I said, I know the corruption happened, he's going to save his wife, but the initial turn, like when he walked in and chose Palpatine over Mace, when you look at all this, I completely get that. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I think we're out of here. If you want to see the next one, you don't want to wait, then which would be Season 6, Episode 1, then you should just go to Patreon. Also, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. Right.